important step is, has the organization put in place an effective structure for strategy implementation? And this is something over the last decade we've spent a lot of time in Lagos Business School advising companies to do. A company should actually hire a chief strategy officer. Now, the chief strategy officer should work directly with the chief executive officer, who, by the way, should be the chief strategist, in managing the processes and the activities around strategy execution. The role of the chief strategy officer is to ensure that the activities, the projects, the plans, as well as the various tactical initiatives around ensuring that the strategy is implemented are followed through. Now, this chief strategy officer must have sufficient seniority to engage with other executives in the organizations and hold them accountable. This chief strategy officer must have the capacity and the capability to hold strategy review sessions and ask those very difficult and naughty questions that stop the executives of the company from making their strategy happen. This chief strategy officer must also have sufficient empowerment and sufficient seniority in the organization to also ensure that he or she is able to pull together cross-functional teams to manage the implementation of the execution process of the strategy. Because one of the things that also impacts or impedes strategy execution is when different parts of an organization work in silos. When you create cross-functional teams and you have organizations or organizational units or members working together to contribute and to play that role in moving the organization forward, the different constituent parts of the organization in terms of units, divisions, or subsidiaries, as it were, have to play their own independent as well as interdependent roles in making the strategy happen. And what these roles require is, first of all, a good understanding of what the role of the other function is, as aligned with the overall mandate of the organization. How do all these roles come together to ensure that there's an effective alignment across individuals, across teams, across business units, across subsidiaries, and that this alignment follows through to the core strategic goals and objectives of the organization. We've had indeed severe debates with organizations who believe the strategy document is the be-all and end-all. And at the end of the development of the strategy document, 90% of the problems are solved because they feel they are clear on where they're headed and that the articulation of that plan is sort of watertight. What I tell people a lot is that the first step in implementing strategy is strategy communication. More than 75% of middle managers do not understand most strategies of organizations. They don't understand why the organization should be creating the product it's creating. They don't understand why the organization has a specific target market focus. They don't also understand the rationale behind the alignment or the marshalling of resources to the attainment or the achievement of that goal. So what I ask for in strategy execution is relentless, open, transparent, productive communication across all levels in the organization. That is one thing that will make a strategic document have the life it should have. To what degree am I able to break down the high-level concepts or the high-level goals in this organization into shop floor actions that even the receptionist, even the driver, even the facility attendant can connect to? How do I make sure all the highfalutin language is watered down, simplified, and connected to actions and activities that a driver or receptionist can understand? So take, for example, I have a driver who drives me to the office, and my overall goal is to build a world-class organization. What's my driver's business with building a world-class organization, and how on earth am I going to get him to understand what that means for his role? But if, on the contrary, I break down the key performance indicators and tell him that what building and running a world-class organization means is that you have to ensure my car is in appropriate good condition, you have to get to work on time, you have to ensure that the car is clean, you have to ensure the car is properly serviced, you have to ensure you don't drive inappropriately such that you don't get into traffic trouble and cause me even more delays in going for my meetings, then the driver would understand how these actions will in turn help me create a world-class organization, because the driver doesn't have responsibilities for all the actions that help create the world-class organization. But you have to create KPIs for the driver so that the driver is able to understand how his or her roles would help me build that world-class organization. So creating the strategy plan is probably less than 5% of the job. Navigating the barriers such as culture, such as emotions, such as the political cliques in the organization, as well as the turbulence or changes in the environment are even more critical steps in making the strategy happen.